Since I'm a little late to reviewing this movie, and probably most other movie YouTubers have, they've probably already used the go-to boat song to describe this film, right? I'm on a boat. But I wouldn't even say that's the best boat song out there, because Step Brothers already brought it. Boats and blood, I gotta have me my quarts of blood. The last voyage of the Demeter, based off a chapter from Bram Stoker's Dracula, we follow a ship and its crew transporting to England one of the most dangerous pieces of cargo ever, Dracula. And that's all pretty much. I give any spoilers, you guys. This will be a spoiler-free review. Literally, that's all you kind of need to know about this movie, right? Dracula on a boat. Should be an easy recipe for success. And without beating too much around the bush, I'll say for the most part, yeah, it kind of is. I don't know about you, but every time I see there's a new iteration or interpretation of Dracula out there, immediately kind of intrigued. Even though Dracula is one of those iconic horror characters that has been done to death. I mean, the last one I saw was Nicolas Cage being Dracula, and that performance in itself was pretty fun and enjoyable. But then seeing in the trailers what they were trying to pull off with this Dracula, oh, I like it. Felt refreshing, felt a little different. This humanoid gigantic bat, I like when movies go a little out of the box or out of the ordinary from what we would expect Dracula to look like. But kind of getting ahead of myself before I dive more into the Dracula design and everything involved with that, I do want to give props to director Andre Overdale. Man is quickly proving himself as a very capable horror director. He did a film called The Autopsy of Jane Doe, underrated horror movie that you might not have seen, highly recommend it. Then he did, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which I think is a very successful, gateway horror movie. It's PG-13, sure, but I think directing-wise, it was good. And with The Last Voyage of Demeter, the atmosphere in here is top-notch. You can really feel the inspiration from some of the earlier Hammer Dracula films, and that's where I think the movie deserves a lot of respect in, because its set pieces, design, cinematography, all that really kind of immersive. There really wasn't a point in this movie where things were coming off cheap to me. Every frame kind of felt like it was given some attention to detail, and even specific lighting moments with Dracula himself look really fantastic. The crew and actors who portray these seamen, get used to that, man, because when they said semen in this movie, I accidentally bursted out laughing. My childish brain couldn't help but to laugh, and old grandpa in my role was not happy with my laughter. But no, the cast is great in here. They do an exceptional job. Really like Corey Hawkins as the main lead in here. He plays this sort of doctor character that is just looking for a better life and opportunities when he finds himself trying to solve this Dracula mystery. David Dastmalchian is quickly becoming someone to look forward to in horror films, and here he continues to give a pretty great performance as the skeptical crew member that once things start going amiss and people are blaming this mythological creature, he's like, nonsense, this is my ship, we're not gonna do that. And you know that character, because at the end of the day, there's a formula to this kind of movie, right? To where you have the enclosed space, you have a crew of people, there's this monster or figure lurking, and one by one they get taken down. The Last Voyage of Demeter does follow that same formula to almost a repetitive point, which I think is what really held back this film, because I think everything is there for this to be considered like, a hidden gem, a really great Dracula film. It's just its pacing and its reveal of Dracula periodically throughout the movie that really hold it back, I feel. Because that's going to be one of my biggest downsides to this movie, is Dracula is not shown a lot in this film, and I know there'll be defenders of that. There'll be those people who come in and go, I actually prefer that they didn't show Dracula as much. It kind of gives it a good creepy, eerie feel. I know, I get it. To a certain point, if you hide the monstrous figure lurking in the background, it could create a suspenseful, scary atmosphere, right? But that type of hidden reveal only works if we get to a point where the third act is all just the monster, non-stop, in your face, and you get to appreciate some of the awesome practical and visual effects on this Dracula, because, man, every time this Dracula was on screen, I was eating it up. I was... Ooh, he looks great. It's just a shame that out of the 2 or 3 really cool kills you get in here, the rest of them are off-screen kills or just stereotypical bites to the neck, and the camera cuts. And well into the third act and finale of the movie, it is still wanting to hide Dracula from you, hidden in the smoke and shadows, lurking in the corners of the frame. And that to me was just kind of the most frustrating part about this movie. But even other than Dracula, there's other things that happen in this film that kind of did surprise me. There was a couple of shocking and surprising kills that went down in this movie I was not expecting at all. And in the way they go about handling those kills, or the way they play into those stereotypical Dracula rules, like if they bite somebody, you know how that affects them, what sunlight does to the skin, things like that. I was like, wow, okay, they're doing something here. Those were definite moments that surprised me and made it feel less generic, less like oh, this is just another random Dracula film that follows the same basic rules. There's nothing really new or special in here, but when watching The Last Voyage of Demeter, you see the hint of specialness. You see how it differentiates itself from a lot of other typical interpretations of Dracula. It's just a shame that they didn't play too much into that, because by the time the movie ends, we mentioned this is supposed to be just a chapter in Bram Stoker's Dracula, okay? That infamous book that has been messed with so many times throughout movie history. Just knowing that fact alone should tell you what you should expect the ending of this movie to be at all, and that's kind of what it is. This movie ends off leading up to what you think will be a better movie or a more exciting film. I don't know if they'll ever get the chance to make what they're promising at the end of this movie. If they did, I'm definitely going to want to be checking it out, because I like the Dracula they set up. I like the characters they have in this movie, but that was kind of just my main issue with it. It is an interesting movie. It creates a great atmosphere. It's a unique, different take on Dracula, but it does feel like it holds itself back, knowing it's just a simple chapter within the book, along with the repetitive nature of the movie going day by day, one crew member dying at a time, only small glimpses of Dracula all throughout the film until it ends. It's gonna drag for some people. So it's not to say this isn't a good movie. I just think it was being held back due to the source material from being a really great, cool Dracula film set on a boat. So for The Last Voyage of Demeter, I'm gonna give action 2.5 stars. Again, they follow that formula of night by night, one crew member will start getting attacked by Dracula, and those little moments of Dracula doing his thing, killing people off, and going in action, it's fun, but it's so sparingly used throughout the film. Comedy in the movie, I'm gonna give it 0.5 star. There's virtually no humor in this film. There's like a couple of jokes here and there, but it's not to say this movie needed to be funny. It's perfectly fine without the humor. I like the serious tone and the atmosphere they create, but for anybody that maybe was expecting to laugh here and there, that's not really something that they're gonna do in this movie. Drama in the film, I'll give it 3 stars, because I do think the story was suitable enough, and it did have my attention, because I did like the characters that were on screen. The dynamics are good, and there's some shocking kills in here I wasn't expecting to see as well. Heart in the film, I'll give 1.5 star too, because of the little use of Dracula. Even those moments when he's in the shadow and he's creeping you out, or you get a really good glimpse of that awesome creepy Dracula face, it's just so short-lived. I don't know if you could truly be scared in those moments. And suspense of film, I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars. You would think the suspense would be well built in here, but there's never really that huge payoff where you just get full-on Dracula. The movies just constantly tease you that, he's coming, he's gonna arrive, and even by the end of the movie, they're still kind of like, maybe we'll have more Dracula for you, I don't know. Casual fans, I'm gonna give it a C+. I just feel like a lot of people end up calling this movie boring, which is just like kind of such a disservice to the awesome set pieces, atmosphere, great Dracula in here. Not everyone's gonna have the patience and appreciation of those things, and they're instead just gonna be like, where's my dang Dracula? Cinephiles, I'm gonna give it a B-, and critically, I'm going to give it a B-. So for The Last Voyage of Demeter, I think it is a cool, unique interpretation of Dracula that you should check out if you're a fan, but maybe wait to rent it at home.
That'll do, Donkey. That'll do.
I'm going to be really curious to hear from other Dracula fans how they felt about this movie, the usage of Dracula. Do you think there was a good balance of it? Could they have done a little bit more? Do you think the movie was held back due to the source material and this just being a chapter within a much larger book? If they got a chance to make a sequel, would that be something you'd be interested in? I would, if they step away from Bram Stoker's Dracula and started doing their own thing. Especially with this director, Andre Overdell, he's definitely got the atmosphere for it. Just let him go ham crazy, because when he does kills and blood, it's actually really effectively done. It just sucks that it's so short. Let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.